In today's video, let's talk about this rumor that Xbox is done with Steam. After that, let's talk about the brand new SteamOS update that has new features for the Steam Deck and Steam Machine. And finally, batteries are back in stock for the Steam Deck LCD, but there's a little bit of a catch. How's it going? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. And as usual, I hope you're having a great week playing a ton of video games. I'm still playing some Black Flag Resynced. I'm playing some Dark Tide. I'm playing some Space Marine 2. I'm loving the Steam Machine, but let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. And also, I just started uploading to my horror movie channel again because so many of you were asking, and the first video is all about how they're making 2 Nightmare on Elm Street movies and racing to see who gets done first. And right now I'm working on a video all about Halloween the game. That channel is linked in the description and it's called Jimmy Champagne, so it should be easy to find. But with the intro out of the way, let's talk about this new rumor that popped up over the weekend that Xbox is thinking about ditching Steam. So yeah, this clip got a lot of people talking, and you can kind of see why this is believable, right? Like, Xbox has been working hard to build out the Xbox mode on Windows 11 PCs. They of course are bringing back exclusives like Gears E-Day is not going to launch on PS5 or Switch 2 or anything else. Just the Xbox Series X, Steam, and the Xbox app on PC. So you can kind of see how 5, 10, 15 years down the line when all of this works out, because I'm like really hopeful that Xbox gets their brand back and doesn't go and become a third-party publisher at the end of the day. They'd have a good enough storefront and a good enough user experience, and maybe people who want to have a PC and an Xbox console, and then they could say, well, we would be sacrificing a big chunk of our audience by abandoning Steam, but if people really want to play our games, which hopefully will be really good by then and not the kind of mid stuff we've been seeing for the past couple of generations, they could bank on that and probably hope that at least enough people would switch over where it wouldn't be a huge monetization hit. But like, let's be real, Xbox cannot afford to lose Steam at this point. No one uses the Xbox store. I'll keep bringing this stat up, but on the Xbox ROG Ally X, 75% of the people who bought that thing subbed to Game Pass used the Xbox store as the main vector to play their Xbox games, which makes sense because even though it is an Asus ROG Ally X at the end of the day, it has the Xbox label on it, it has an Xbox branding logo when you start it up, it has an Xbox button, and it was marketed as the handheld Xbox that we've been waiting for ever since we saw those fake ass images and videos go on YouTube back when YouTube originally launched, back when the 360 came out. But the critical point of data is that out of the 25% who don't use Xbox Game Pass, 98% of them buy their games on Steam. So they buy this thing, use Windows with Steam, or install SteamOS to interact with Steam. The point is, a huge chunk of the audience for the ROG Xbox Ally X uses Steam as the main way to buy games. So like, even when you have all these great programs like Play Anywhere, where when you buy Forza Horizon 6 on the Xbox app, you also get a digital Xbox copy. That works for a ton of Xbox's first-party games like Doom the Dark Ages and Indiana Jones as well. That's not enough to get people to move over to that app from Steam. It's a very similar situation to what Epic Games has going on, right? Where they launched the Epic Game Store. They put Fortnite on that and Rocket League and a few other games, but then they turned it into a storefront and started giving away a ton of free stuff. And even with a good incentive like that, it was not enough at all to get people to switch from Steam, because they all fail to understand that we're not like forced at gunpoint to use Steam. We like Valve, we like Steam, and even though there's some stuff that gets annoying from time to time, for the most part, if you compare Steam to Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and now Epic Games and Ubisoft and EA, because they all have their own PC storefronts, Steam is just the best across the board, and honestly, I don't foresee that changing in the future. So with all that context, it wasn't surprising to me at all when this rumor just started getting walked back. Jez eventually wrote a news story about how Xbox isn't even planning it right now, but naturally that's the point they'd love to get to. And yeah, I'm sure they would love to get to a point where they don't need Steam to sell PC games. But as of right now, there's no reason not to put the games on Steam, right? Like, yeah, you've got to give Steam a 30% cut, but if you do manage to make a truly great game like Gears E-Day is really shaping up to be, having Steam available and all of its users right there to play your brand new game that's heavily reliant on multiplayer for PvP and PvE and for campaign co-op, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense right now. And I'd imagine that even if all these plans they have in place go perfectly, they're not going to abandon Steam, because right now and probably forever, Steam is the de facto PC gaming app. And I just don't ever foresee that changing. Like, just being real, bias aside, Steam is too big and too good to fail. But yeah, one huge reason for that is all the constant updates we get on Steam that just improve features that already work pretty well. And that brings us to the second news story story, which is of course about a brand new SteamOS update that adds new features for the Steam Deck and Steam Machine. Now this one's coming with some bug fixes too, but the big thing they improved is remote play. So they improved the color range, so it should just look a little bit better on the Steam Deck LCD and OLED. But if you've got the Steam Deck OLED, they added the ability to stream in HDR. So if you're playing in HDR on your main PC or your Steam Machine, then you'll be able to stream in HDR on your Steam Deck and take advantage of all the OLED's features. And then they added the ability to stream in AV1 video. I don't understand what that means or why it would be good, but people seem to be excited about it, so I figured I should mention it in the video. And as far as remote play goes, it works pretty dang well. I made a tips video for the Steam Machine now that I've used it for a little bit, and you should definitely check that out if you're a new Steam Machine owner. But one of the tips was to supercharge your Steam Deck by using remote play from the Steam Machine, and I was really impressed with how well it worked, because I remember trying out Steam Link like a little over a year ago, and it was an absolute disaster. I tried remote playing from my Steam Deck to my Windows PC, and my Windows PC has a 5080 in it, so like it wasn't a graphics issue or anything, and the Windows PC is hardwired into my router, and I was right next to the router with my Steam Deck. It was blocky, it was dropping frames, there was tons of latency. I was like, this needs work. But when I tried it the other day, streaming from my Steam Machine to my Steam Deck, it was by no means perfect. It was still dropping frames once in a while, but I tried to play Hades 2 and it was running at 1440p, downscaled to 800p. There was a slightly noticeable jump in graphics, and I was most impressed with the latency. The latency was almost imperceivable, probably because I have a best case scenario here where like neither of the devices are connected to Ethernet, but the router's right there behind the camera and my Steam Machine's like 3 feet from it. And I mentioned this before, but the Steam Machine has one of the best Wi-Fi chips I've ever used. So yeah, I would definitely call it a good experience. Will I be using it? No, I don't mind playing at lower graphics and lower FPS on the Steam Deck because I really value the ability to play on the actual device. That's kind of the whole reason I bought it. But if you're one of these people who are in the majority, I'm in the minority for sure, it seems like the experience overall just continually keeps getting better with Steam Link. And that's why it's good that Valve's making hardware, because it's not just the Steam Machine that kind of influenced this change. It's also the Steam Frame, because the Steam Frame is built to stream games from your PC as well. Just based on some of the leaks and rumors we've been hearing, while there is a lot of power in the chip that ships with the Steam Frame, there's a lot of optimization work that needs to be done on SteamOS because people are running into walls where they can't get their games running at the correct frame rate to be verified. So it seems like at launch, at least, streaming is going to be pretty much essential for the Steam Frame if you want to play some of the beefier VR games out there. The big bug they fixed is making local transferring better. So like if you have a game on your main PC or your Steam Deck, you can transfer it over Wi-Fi from the device one to another instead of downloading it over the internet. And obviously that comes in clutch with stuff like data caps. But I was watching a video on the Steam Machine from someone in Australia, and I couldn't tell if they were joking, but they said that Australia as a whole has notoriously bad internet, and it was actually like an essential feature for them to be able to transfer stuff over their local network from PC to the Steam Machine. And they made the video at the worst time because it was when this whole feature was kind of having some bugs. So if you're that person, this feature is fixed, so that's good. But yeah, I didn't know Australia had internet problems. If you're an Australian watching, let me know in the comments if your internet is good or terrible. But either way, if you've got data caps or slow internet, this is a good feature. It's not the fastest in the world. Like over my gigabit setup, it's like slower than downloading from the internet. But there have been times like after a big storm when, you know, power lines go down and the internet just really slows down, where it has, you know, really worked out for me and come in clutch. So I'm glad they fixed it. But yeah, pretty solid update for SteamOS. I'd imagine we'll see a lot more SteamOS updates once the frame finally drops. There's a ton of rumors with that. I'll probably cover it in the next video. I don't want to talk about it and then post a video and then have them announce it, but it seems like some reviewers have it, and like some developers were kind of like waiting for them to release it last week, and then Qualcomm announced a 10% bump in price on the chip, so they kind of like, I don't know what's going on. So we'll just wait and see. If anything concrete comes out, I'll talk about it in the next video. But finally, that brings me to the third news story, which is an update on the battery drama, which honestly got blown out of proportion. But essentially what happened is the battery for the Steam Deck LCD went out of stock on iFixit, and then iFixit said that they couldn't get that part anymore, and then Valve responded very quickly and was like, no, you can get the part, we're just like going to get more of them and send them over to you. So everything was copacetic, and now they're back in stock, but there's a little bit of a catch, which is of course a price increase on the overall cost of the battery. So it used to cost like $80. I'm pretty sure now it's 135. I think that equals out to like a 45% price increase, which is kind of a bummer. The reasoning, of course, is the same reason everything is going up in price, the AI RAM apocalypse. I just saw that motherboards are about to get a price increase because of the RAM apocalypse. So like GPUs, RAM, SSDs, it wasn't enough. It's motherboards now too. And I'd imagine that cases, coolers, and everything else are going to increase in price because I'd imagine it has to do with the shipping, right? Like if you're selling a bunch of RAM, you're selling a bunch of parts to AI data centers, you're going to devote space on your ships to get that stuff to them as fast as possible. So they keep buying more and spending more money. And then you're going to charge more to fill up the extra slots you have left for regular parts like motherboards, batteries, Steam Deck, Steam controllers, Steam machines. Like even though it's just RAM and storage really ratcheting up the price, it really does affect everything. And it just shows more than ever that this crisis needs to be figured out. I'm like a very hands-off government type of person, but something needs to be done. It's getting absolutely ridiculous how out of control the AI situation is. And allegedly, according to Valve, we're on like a 3 or 6 month lag behind their prices, and it's just going to get worse. Like I just saw that all the Xboxes got raised in price. They eliminated the 2 terabyte model, and the 1 terabyte with disk drive of the Series X costs $800 now. And even with that in mind, they're still apparently taking a $150 loss on all that hardware. I think that's smart with Gears E-Day being right around the corner. And after playing the beta, I am so excited for that game. But yeah, it's just kind of a bummer because the natural endpoint of all this is them convincing everyone to stream every game from the cloud. And at that point, I'll use the hardware I have as long as I possibly can. But when there's a big switch to everything being digital in the cloud, I'm out. I'm just done. I'm not playing games like that. I'm sorry. Like it just isn't good enough for me. And I don't want that to happen. But yeah, there's also a cheaper version made by iFixit that's not OEM, but like I'd trust iFixit's third-party battery. And hopefully you're not having battery issues to begin with. My Steam Deck's going just fine. And it's the limited edition one I bought back when it came out. So hopefully this doesn't become a mass problem very quickly, because even though it's more expensive, I'd imagine it's also in lower supply because of everything I just talked about. So yeah, hope the RAM crisis ends soon. Just gonna keep saying it, but it just seems like it's getting worse, which is a huge bummer. But yeah, that's all I've got for the Steam hardware news. Please check out my channel, Jimmy Champagne. Again, it's linked in the description. It's the first channel I ever started on YouTube, and I think I found a really good format over there. It's a little bit different than what I'm doing here, but I just don't want to do the same stuff on 3 different channels, right? Like I wanted to mix it up because that channel is just fun for me at the end of the day. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you in this one. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.